Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to the weekend before Thanksgiving. I hope you guys are all ready for a nice, family holiday. Hopefully, you guys will have the whole week off like we do. If not, well, at least you'll get a couple of days off. Nice long weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. We did all of our shopping, and of course, even after going to 3 different stores, we forgot like 5 different things. How do you forget cranberry sauce? Right?
You're talking to the wrong man here because
You don't like cranberry sauce?
No. Well, if you look at what I have, it's going to be pretty much meat, potatoes, mushrooms, a pie, and some bread. That's about it.
Sounds good. That sounds good.
Oh,
Yeah. What meat?
Well, last year I had a ribeye roast. This year I'll have to ask my son what he wants because a lot of times I have a lot of ribeye, but maybe I'll try something different. I like turducken, which is about the only time I'm going to have turkey, but I want it with a stuffing with a crawfish, the Tony Cacciatore's, and then there's the Boucher's or whatever it is. They're both really good, but otherwise it's just like whatever's there. Chicken fingers works, steak works, but I have a brisket cooking right now. So,
how about you, Graham? What do you got planned for Turkey Day?
Well, we had the Southern Turkey Day the other day, the official Southern 1862 authorized. So we have 2 a year. The other one we're planning to have a turkey. We got a pretty good sized turkey. We're gonna have an old treat called it's called potato balls. And
I got your potato balls right here, buddy. Yeah. Papa's de Rios.
Yeah, these are a little bit different, and they taste good. So,
that's what she said. I'm sorry.
So these are
mute my mic and start off as a jerk.
These are pretty good.
No, it's okay as long as we're cool with Bo's here, because Bo's got little ones roaming around, and we don't want to, But yeah, don't sweat it, guys. We're all grown ups here.
I gotta tell Travis, I'm still upset about him calling me old when I'm probably one of the younger people in the damn video. I'm only 49.
55. I'm 55.
Said that I was too old for technology.
Oh, Travis is just screwing around. Actually, Travis is a real good guy. I don't know about this Victor guy.
He's great. I just got bust his balls for him calling me old.
Yeah, I know. I'm like the oldest guy here. How old are you, Graham?
Same as you.
That's what I thought.
Same year.
Oh, Connell now Connell's like, where's my link?
Yeah. How old is Connell?
I don't know, Connell. I don't know, man. You didn't invite me to your show. I don't know if I should invite you to my show, man. No. Give me just a second. I'm gonna yell for the boy because he's supposed to be sitting here next to me, infecting me with his cooties.
Coming out. What are you eating, buddy?
Hey, Jack. Upstairs.
I tried making brisket in the oven.
Oh yeah, I asked you when you wanted me to be over for that, dude.
We're live.
Hey, it's an open invitation, man.
I had rotisserie chicken and cottage cheese for dinner.
Well, I think I need to break this down a bit more. It still is not quite tender enough, so
because I can digest chicken and cheese.
How's your brother doing?
He's good. He's really tired.
I know. I noticed that he was like crashing out like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, they changed his medications.
Oh, okay.
His body's still getting used to him. It's like the reason I take a nap every day is I take like 10 medications in the morning. 6 of them cause drowsiness. So around noon, I'm just zonked out. It's like, oh God, I gotta sleep.
Yeah, I take a bunch of them too. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
They
put me on a medication for my dizzy spells, and it works really, really well because you can't be dizzy if you're in a coma. If you're totally unconscious, you can't be dizzy.
That's true. Well, glad you're feeling better and out of the hospital.
Yeah, it's fun to be out of the hospital every once in a while. I mean, I miss
Oh my God, man. That's why we love you, man. Anybody else would be just bitter and grouchy at least. Oh God, I don't know how I would do it.
Hey,
Um,
sponge baths are fun.
But if you got a pretty nurse, if you don't, it's not
I
so
always
much.
get a pretty nurses. I got 4 phone numbers from this last time I was in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Hey, there you go.
I had nurses and techs coming in and giving me hugs when their shift started because they weren't my nurse or tech, but they wanted to come in and see me anyway.
Sounds good.
Hey, I'll take sympathy hugs anytime.
Sounds like
They all
nice
like
place.
me because I'm extremely nice to my nurses. I make them laugh, and I'm cute. It's just double trouble up in this bad boy.
Good that you had a nice stay.
And today
well,
was
it's better
good.
that you're out. It's better that you're out. No
Yeah,
lie.
well, my mom is in town. She bought me this badass hat today.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. Don't make me pull out my new hat because I promise you, when you see it tomorrow, you will be jealous. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm just
this
saying
hat is
that.
pretty pimp.
Oh, that hat is. You're absolutely right. My hat I can't wear every day, nor can I wear everywhere, but it's
See, I
pretty
have
badass.
a beanie hat that says "Let's Go Brandon" on it because I'm conservative, and my mom also bought me like 4 pairs of overalls because I have an ostomy bag. So
That's
when I'm
nice.
wearing the t-shirt and I walk, it moves. It's a little embarrassing,
Uh-oh.
but it's part of my life. But with my overalls, it doesn't. And it's really easy to carry with a pair of overalls.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
seeing how-
you see the leather I'm wearing tonight?
It's nice.
2 built-in holsters on either side.
Oh,
my
very
brother
nice.
has a built-in holster. I bought it at a truck stop for that reason, because I'm always packing. It's like chicken in every pot and a cap in every ass in the state of Florida. I have a pistol in hands reach right now.
Hey, Jack. How you doing, Jackson?
Hello.
Hey, Jack, love that hat, bro.
Glad
Love
you're
that hat.
feeling a little better.
I
Heard you
am.
weren't feeling too good.
Yeah, no, I was sick. I still am, technically. So I don't think it's a good idea that I'm sitting right here. But
Yeah, in like 8 seconds I'll be infected.
yes.
Well, we were in a car all day too, so I'll take my chances, and if I have to, miss a show or two later during the week, everybody's going to be out doing, stuff, so it's okay.
My dad has a hat like that. He wears it in the wintertime up in Kentucky.
It's warm as hell. It's warm as
with
hell,
the-
but you can't hear a damn thing.
Yeah,
He has
there's a
that
reason.
hat and he has a Soviet long coat. So he's walking around little Russian dude.
Yeah, it's funny. One of our absolute favorite people at the gun show is this Russian father and son that we've been friends with for years now, and I was just like, oh man, tell me you're going to the
Donald,
other
how
show.
you doing in the chat, buddy?
Yeah, I'm gonna let him in. He's just gonna have to hang for a minute, just because I wanted to make. No. Let's bring my little brother in here, and let's make fun of him so he can actually, make fun back. What's happening?
Like I
Nothing
said on
much.
this show,
So,
say it on this show. I'm here, so there's a little class. And
once again, if that was the case, where's your brother?
he's napping. I did a show today, and he did a show today, and we were on each other's shows.
Second of all, I want you to know at the end of my show, I told everybody who was the one person that was still in chat to come hang out with you. So I did my part, and the link was in the Discord. My Discord with Mr. Rogers doing this.
Yes.
My tablet wasn't working until just recently, so yeah,
See-
I didn't see it. Jackie told me that you were doing a show,
Yeah.
but before every time I do this show, every other show, I'm hanging out with 10 Cars Tavern because they do Gamers Help, and I highly recommend it, especially you, Hungar. You would be just getting all kinds of love and helpful advice from people who actually know a thing or three about health. As I'm the last guy to ask.
Yeah.
I've been smoking since I was 14, and I'll probably still be smoking after I'm dead. I don't know how I'm going to arrange that, but there'll probably be like a tube and a bellows thing, and I'll have to hire someone.
Wait a minute.
to
Wait a
be
minute. Hold it, Jack. Are you going to put
Yeah.
your father on a funeral pyre like they did in Conan?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
I told my
That's if I
doctor,
care.
I was like, Doc, I want to quit smoking. And he dead-eye looked me right in my optical socket and said, if you like to smoke, if I was you, I'd just keep on smoking. You ain't going to have cancer. And I was like, you son of a bitch. So I quit just to spite him.
Well,
And
I say this jokingly. I don't say this part jokingly. I make it to church twice a week. Once on Wednesday for Wednesday Mass and confession, and Sunday before we do our show normally.
How do you have any time left between?
Here, but let me finish. Every time I walk out the church, I seem to get a little bit tanner and tanner, as if I'm walking through the gates. I'm slowly burning.
You probably are.
Though my favorite game with to do with the priest is to see how long does it take me to make him laugh when we're doing confession.
I used to smoke 40 non-filtered cigarettes a day, Victor.
You look okay.
But no, I am very much a happy practicing Catholic. Just I have a very messed up sense of humor.
If we weren't supposed to have a sense of humor, God wouldn't make shit funny.
Damn, Victor. I was almost at that when I was working. I was a lifeguard back in the day, and I would just chain smoke all freaking day because nothing ever happened where I was, working. And that's not good, Vic. That's not good.
I was
Especially
I was an over-the-road truck driver. Cigarettes are really cheap in Missouri, and I was smoking 2.5 packs of Camel non-filters a day for 7 years.
Wow.
Because I was like,
You're lucky your lungs didn't just crawl up out of you and quit.
Yeah.
Oh, how many cigarettes are in a pack?
20
20.
here in the U.S.
I was smoking 2.5 packs, so 50 cigarettes a day or more.
When I moved back to the States to live with my mom and her boyfriend at the time, who later became anyways, she was averaging probably about almost 3 packs. So that's 60.
Yeah.
You can't drink out of it.
I used to tell people I smoked like a fish.
Well, again, I turn 18, and the first thing I do is I go to the local cigar shop and buy myself a box of cigars. I think I was smoking either Romeo or Punch at that point in time. And my mom's like, those things will give you cancer. I'm like, you mean unlike your 3 packs a day?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about politics tonight.
All right.
Oh, no.
Yes, we are.
Yes, kind of.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Hey, really quick though, Jack, I finished the book yesterday. The book. I absolutely love it. That was a great pick. I will keep saying this until tomorrow. Then all the praise I give you dries up by that point.
I have a confession to make.
You haven't read it yet.
Another confession.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't finished it.
I'm 3 hours in, so I've got about 3 hours left.
There's this
Yeah,
lovely
me
glass
too.
bell-shaped container that I'm thinking about buying for you. It's big enough to put a chair and you in, and it's a bell. It's glass. It has a little hole with a tube. Anyways, you'll get there. Wait, am I the only person to finish this bloody book?
Yeah.
Apparently, yes, you are, because
No. Mark finished it, but he won't be showing up tomorrow.
yeah.
Y'all suck.
Dress, I have
We'll
I'm
finish it.
gonna finish it tonight, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know if
I'm not
I'll
that
finish
far.
it tonight because I got another show after this with Nathan Allen.
I'll be
I
listening
call
to it.
shenanigans. I call shenanigans.
I do
I
too.
always read the last
Yeah.
chapter first in case I die before I finish the book. I want to know how it ends.
I used to kind of do that, but then I found that I would then not care about the rest of the book, so I stopped doing that because, yeah, that's.
Well, I have extenuating circumstances.
Oh no, this was a long time ago. Now, if I did that, I'd be like, I finished another book.
I had a buddy in college that would rip out the last 2 pages of every book he reads because in his mind he doesn't want the story to end.
That
Doesn't
makes
make much
zero
sense.
Well, he was also another rugby player, so we don't expect intelligence.
That's really Trump.
I don't even get that. What?
Vecna is Trump.
And then Owen says, no, Vecna is the current president, which. Can I be cause? That's all I want to say. Can I be cause?
I like the fact that
I am going to own out. I am going to behave, but I have one question. How many years are in a decade?
10.
How long can the president serve on one term?
4.
4 for one term and 8
8
normally,
total.
and 10 if they're vice president. So.
When Trump is doing his speech this past week saying that he's going to run again, just re-listen to it really quick.
You know what?
I take some silly comments and some mean tweets for cheap gas.
I know.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's in
And
class.
I
No,
like
it was
the fact
by
that every time
like
Nancy
8:50
Pelosi
he was
leaves,
done with the
her
first
husband
speech.
gets hammered.
I know Travis thinks there was a lot more, but if you ever read any of Heinlein's books, most of it's his philosophy rather than politics. Though, Mistress, you want to talk about with what is it?
The moon is a harsh mistress?
Yes, the moon is a harsh mistress, but even then, I like Heinlein. I do, but the man is too lazy to finish a book. He's like, you know what? I'm kind of bored. I'm just going to stop it.
I've read all of his stuff. I've really read all of his stuff, and I listen to Heinlein audiobooks when I sleep. Like last night, I listened to Have Spacesuit Will Travel.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, books wise, I'm still making my way through the Two Towers because I had to stop to listen to a 6-hour book that I'm the only person that finished, other than Mark, because I understand
this video.
I understood the homework.
I will go Starship Troopers. I would agree with them in a lot of stuff, but in one sense, I don't believe that punishment should be classified as cruel and unusual, that we should be against it, because punishment should be cruel and unusual. If you're being punished for something, it shouldn't be an everyday thing. That's happening.
Yeah.
And 2, veterans should be the ones to vote.
Yeah.
Well, and anyone that looks at it is, what did he also say? Anyone could join the military.
Everybody can join. You can be blind, deaf, in a wheelchair, and you want to join up for service, you're going to be in service.
They will find something for you to do. Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember that. And but I have different feelings about it as I get older, because I see on how it's abused. The problem that I have with it is I think that whoever votes should be impacted by their decisions at the national level. So like, oh, okay, you vote for war? Congratulations. Guess who's going over there? The people who
if you vote for war, your ass should go to the war.
Exactly. And I don't care if you're 70 years old. They're well, then go over there. Shut your big fat mouth.
People in the war need to eat, and if you're 70-year-old and you vote for a war, your ass can be in the kitchen cooking.
Oh, well, my view is you can go to the front lines just like everybody else, And guess what? Also,
if I voted for war, I'd want my crippled ass on the front lines anyway. Oh, shit, I wish I could go to war. What am I talking about?
Personally, I think the prison system should be emptied and turned into boot camps.
I have different feelings about the prison.
But I see where you're going.
But I don't want to get this too political off of, despite that we're going to talk about politics. I don't want to get like real world politics, but I think that prisons should be a place for reformation and then protection of the populace, and just being, how do I want to call it, vindictive serves no real purpose. Is the problem that
No. I trust me. Yeah. I've known a lot of people that had the choice of jail or military service, and they all got their lives around. If you put a guy into instead of going to jail, you put a guy into the military, and nobody knows that that's why he joined, he will straighten his ass up. Especially if he knows he's not getting out. He's not getting out in, like 4 years. He's got to do 10. He will then become part of a better system.
Yes.
We should bring back floggings for crimes.
I'm all for the stocks, for especially.
I'm all for crow cages. You can't beat a crow cage when you watch somebody get picked to death by birds.
Hold on really quick though, guys. Knowing my uncle on my mom's side, who got in trouble, the judge offered him jail time or a Vietnam time. He picked Vietnam time. He came back more twisted than the way he left. So, given the choice between prison or Vietnam, the healthy choice there would have been, I'll take prison.
I'm not disagreeing. Like I said, it's the problem that I have with the system is it's like the worst of all worlds. Is, like I said, is there are psychopaths out there that need to be separated from society, and those people need to be in jail. There's also people that need their lives turned around, and they need to be able to differentiate those two, for one. And then, and some people just make bad decisions, and you're like, okay, we need to do it. The problem that I have a lot of cases is, especially when it's non-violent crimes, we really need to put people in jail for several years for stuff. And anyway, I don't want to get too much into that, but I think that there needs to be an aspect of replication.
I'm sorry, guys, but I need a snack attack.
But anyway, so what's the first question if we're going to get on topic here? So
okay, the first question, I do believe I'm going to let you, Holman, kind of just sum it up and rattle on for a bit, because they kind of tie into each other. Do you run a sci-fi RPG?
I would love to. They're one of my favorites. Looking over Traveler, which I missed for years, I would love to do that. I'd love to do a Star Frontiers. Other than that, I think that I'm trying to think if there's anything else for science fiction. If it is a science fiction, it's more of the dystopian, weird, Gonzo, Thundar style, which I want to call a sword and fantasy. I guess that would be the Hyperborea or the DC or the MCC or one of those out there that I wouldn't mind. But that's really just fantasy with lasers. But but when it comes to more of a hard class, I would love to run a Star Frontiers. But I'd love to be a player in those too, and that's the hard part. Is everyone that I've played with. Oh, I'm going to mention one other, which the company's woke, but I really did enjoy. It's called Scum and Villainy. Very, very simple system. You can play Cowboy Bebop. You can do Firefly. You could do Star Wars out of it without really changing anything. So those are the three systems that I like.
Okay, Owen. If you were going to run a sci-fi game, how would you? What kind of government or political structure would you implement, or would there be multiple?
I would probably do multiple on each star system. To be fair, there'd probably be an overarching, and then you would start going down the next level, because it's just like in real life. So many people focus on the national level, but really what goes on in your day-to-day is what goes on locally in your city. And I think that a lot of us look at these big, and don't get me wrong, whenever you want those big earth-shattering events, you want that. But in many cases, talking about whether it's Firefly or something like that, is I would like them to have the home base in a starship, and then have just the little interactions and the little BS politics that you get between merchants, and now I'm going to have to bribe the quartermaster to get in there, and I'd rather kind of narrow it down to a space station, which is not as big, and yes, it can have we're going to have the princess come in or whoever, everyone's going to be hoity-toity, but I think that a lot of times whenever I play just about any game, I want people to be at the at the edge of the universe or the edge of the empire, where you don't have the constraining politics and everything else. It's kind of loose. People turn, their eyes but you have to deal with the local population for the most part, especially for science fiction. I want you to go out beyond. I don't want you to be in the civilized worlds. And you can do that, but that's where I want you to be. I want you to be way out there. I want you to explore. That's the whole thing of why I play science fiction games, is to get away from the banality and the calcification of everything. So that's what I would do. And I'm not saying you don't have the overarching, okay, this is what's going on, but they don't need to know that this guy is doing this. And they're not going to get up to that level generally. I'm sure if we ever played long enough, we could. But then the question is, okay, I would rather you do the 40K rogue trader. You go outside of the Imperium, and then you come back with a massive fleet of ships, and you're like, okay, now we're going to talk, and I'm going to be in a whole other position. That's the way that I want it for my games, and I think that's what a lot of players want. But it's also easier to keep your players really focused if it's small, and then they get to know everyone, and then there's oh, well, we're going to go in here. We know the bartender. We know this. We know that. It has that personal feeling. And that's what I really want out of my role-playing games. I don't know how everyone else feels about that.
Okay,
What was
I
that
think
TV show? Dark Matter?
that was actually a good show. I really liked that. I just hated the way they ended without the last season. Because what they were alluding to for the last season, for the next season, was just like leaps and bounds beyond what they had already gone through. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I've been waiting. Every time I turn on Netflix, which isn't often, I go and check that channel and a couple other channels, like Traveler, I think it was, or something like that, was another show that did the same thing. Just, we got canceled, and you'll never know how it was going to end.
The reason why I bring it up, and I'm not trying to disrail the conversation, it was just I remember watching at least the first 5 or 6 episodes of Dark Matter and thinking it was a really great show. The way you were describing what you want Omen out sounds kind of like Dark Matter.
Even when you have The Expanse, I enjoyed The Expanse a lot more when it was more narrowed down to the first season with the when they had the private investigator.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot of that aspect. I like, again, there's something, how we talked about fear in space. Yeah. I want players to feel kind of alone, but I also want them to feel familiar. And, you can get into the Babylon 5, big arching, but in some ways, do the players, you kind of lose that personal connection that you would have in there. And I think that's part of the reason that we like doing role-playing games and just pure war gaming, is we want those personal connections with those NPCs.
Right.
Go ahead.
Any sci-fi, I should say, show, movie, or game, once you dial it down to the players or the characters, I think it's a whole lot more interesting than space, the final frontier. I mean, I don't care. I want to know about the characters.
And the other part is you can have all the politics going on behind the scenes, and the players can hear about it in their ear. And I would rather have that. But at the end of the day, what is it? Is any story is about them. It doesn't matter about the rest of the world, but the rest of the world still goes on, and that's how you can bring it in. I play to be a hero. I play the characters to be heroes. I don't want them to be almost nobodies. Now, that said, is if I was going to run an Alien game, which I do like Alien as well, then I'm going to start doing it. Now, they're going to do their little, their little space runs, but they don't realize what they're going to, and they're going to find out that the different layers and aspects, and they're going to be caught up in it without realizing it. Like, oh, we went over here and we delivered some eggs, and then not that I liked Alien Resurrection, but I did like the idea of where you have these criminals on the outside that drop off stuff at different research facilities, and they don't know what's going on there. And that to me is when you start having those different layers. But it doesn't have to be these big giant space battles, and there are very few systems that do that well anyway. So, and do I really want characters to have giant battleships if they're not Rogue Trader? No, I would rather them have the little stealthy spaceship that has almost no guns, because then they have to use piloting. They have to ambush. I want all that aspect in whenever I play a game. I want them to have to think. You know what? If we can't do this, we're going to lose it. Now I know how Chimerian talked about. They kept crashing. No, I don't want that. But that's why when we're talking about travel and I create talking about creating a certain ship. I'm like, let me do the stealth ship. And it took me like 3 hours to do it, and it's harder than doing concrete design. But you're going through all that stuff, and okay, guys, I want you to deliver this person down there. So the players may not even know what they're doing, but they're like, yeah, that sounds like a cool job, and it's a cool adventure. They go off, and then they might hear something in the the equivalent of a paper in the news. Oh, such and such happened. They went, that's not the way I remember it going on. And then, that's slowly where the pieces are being maneuvered, but they don't have to know what's going on. I'm the one that's going to have fun in the background, talking about it and building everything up. And then they go, oh, crap. Are we the bad guys? Did we do this?
Are we the
baddies?
baddies?
Fix it? Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. And then well, are you going to go from the Empire to the rebel? That's what I want. So I want them to feel but the other thing is, some players just don't like to do all that. So by keeping it small, it's okay. What's the politics? Well, now I have to go over from here to here. And this is one thing I did like about Scum and Villainy, and Blades in the Dark does as well. Actually, it's, because they're basically the same system. If you help one person, another one may go down. So you start playing with these faction things, which the DM is the one really playing with it. And it's like, well, this one can go up, this one can go down. And then you start playing these little dial it in of, well, who are we making enemies of? And I think that's a good way of doing it. And I wish that more systems had a mechanic. As much as I don't like heavy mechanics, I wish they would have a mechanic that way that I can show the players, oh, yeah, you pissed off these people. They're like, oh, I didn't know that by doing this mission, it aggravated this group and helped this group out. And that's the way that I kind of like it.
Yeah, I often did that.
All right. Now that we've got that from you, Omen, I'm going to start with the new questions. The first one's going to sound kind of maybe off to some of you, but I am going somewhere with it. And I'm going to start with you, Grim. If you're running a sci-fi RPG and you want to have a little bit of interaction with the government, you want the government to not be an overwhelming aspect, but what form of government would you most likely implement in the starting part of the game where the characters live and are going to be adventuring, where they come from, type of thing, their starting point? What kind of form of government, would it be a monarchy, a democracy? Would it be ruled by some robot intelligence or something like that?
Kind of an empire that says it's not an empire.
Right.
The kind that says we're friendly and open, and they're really not. I think that's a typical kind of a good sci-fi government. You got, and also if you have other governments similar around, if you look at the BattleTech system, which Ogar was talking about earlier, you have an interesting kind of. They all pretend to be decent governments, but they're all very totalitarian. When you read the books, they're all
Except
trying
for the
to.
Draconis Combine, they're the good guys.
I disagree. The Japanese, therefore, by nature of the
Japanese.
Easy.
All right.
Easy. We know where he's going.
Hey, the Japanese still haven't apologized for their war crimes, okay?
Well, neither have we. So
Yeah,
let's
but
just
we did
move on.
drown 2 sons of them, okay?
Yeah, no
They
one's,
apologized for Japanese internment to the Bush administration, for crying out loud. So there's that.
how many cherry trees came over? I know almost every major city got one.
They were the house of the rising sun, and now they're the land of the falling sun.
Hey, really quick,
Or at
Bo,
least,
what was
at least the land of the falling birth rates.
they're not the only one. They're
No,
not
I
the only
know.
one. Really
Honestly,
quick,
though,
Bo, what does your shirt say?
collapses.
What does my what say?
Shirt.
Oh, it says fear roots in the unknown.
Oh, see, I was hoping it said,
Like
I
that.
drink and I know things. I
Yeah.
had my hopes up.
No, it's a shirt from my gym.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, Bo, well, why don't you give us an answer for this one? I'm going to skip
Okay.
the little guy and come back to him at the end.
What I like about a sci-fi campaign is that there are opportunities for many factions, like interstellar factions, and like we're talking about the Inner Sphere and BattleTech, and there are a lot of opportunities. Things that I had never considered, like having like paranoia, having a society ruled by a computer, something very Star Trek, the original series,
Yep.
or a Blade Runner esque, or a Firefly, where there's a very strong, true fascism with government,
Logan's Run.
corporate interactions. You've got like the Dark Sun Corporation and then the federal government sort of in bed together, breeding super soldiers. I always thought to alluding to the earlier question, how do you have an interstellar campaign and still make the players matter? Are the players the absolute heroes where they save the day on a galactic level, or are they saving the day more on a individual level? And my own campaign has a republic where, like I said, where the it's a bicameral government where it's divided evenly between the president of the Senate and the Senate, which gives a lot of room for cloak and dagger, people with various factions vying for control, trading guilds and corporate interests. I want to give the players as big of a sandbox as they could possibly stomach, so they can take the game anywhere they want to go. So I wanted to make the government much more important and accessible on a planetary level, or on a house level, or on a guild level, than something that's going way, way, way beyond the scenes in a government that spans a whole arm of the galaxy, a whole arm of the spiral galaxy. So I don't know. That's my plan. That's my thoughts right now. I'm trying to keep it all together with economy, and that's another question too. How does your economy run? Because you can't have a government without an economy. More questions than answers, Shadow. Sorry.
No, that's great. That's kind of why we're here, guys.
Yep.
Okay, Connell, what would you bring to the table if you were running a sci-fi game?
Snowpiercer.
Never seen it. Elaborate, please.
So you get let's start with we're gonna mix around a little bit here because I don't know what system I would do. A little bit of rogue trader. You throw that in there, where a group of people go get a signal from a planet that's covered in ice. The day after next with Dennis Quaid type, frost, just bad stuff, right? And on the planet, there is a single train that circles the globe. And they're asking for supplies. Now, what the supplies are, the crew does not know. So they lock up with the train because sci-fi, if you can put gas, if two jets can hook up and, give each other gas, then a hovering whatever could hook up with a train. Why not? Whatever.
Okay.
And on this train, the rich and powerful are in the first few cabins, or the first part. And as the train goes further, the poorer people get.
Oh, that movie scared me.
Yeah, I've seen it on Netflix, but I haven't watched it.
Oh,
It's in my list of to watch, but I don't like giving Netflix that much of my time unless it's Blacklist.
TNT has it as a TV series. And Sean Bean has found a show that he does not die in. So
Huzzah!
Sean Bean.
I liked the second season so much when they brought in Sean Bean for that, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and I do
Okay,
love
you mentioned his name. I'll have to check it out.
it's the first season that I felt like they rushed it, but the second season he's completely deliciously fascinating. He really
So-
plays off on that.
So the whole government politics is on the train. Everything is in a local area. It's not 5 states away or X amount of states away. It's not 3 towns or 3 cities away. It's all on one train. The who has it, who wants it, and who's screwed. Now the crew does not know this. And maybe one of your crew members has a conscience, and it just builds from there.
That's hard
That's-
to imagine.
Yeah.
The players having a conscious part. Sorry, just messing with you.
Right. I'm in this wonderful campaign with this annoying in the butt paladin. I'm trying to curve my tongue tonight. I want you to all to mark this on a calendar. I am trying to curve my tongue while I'm on Shadow Show.
Noted.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
But this pain in the butt paladin seems to be the moral, upright person, which will probably get us all killed, but that's besides the point.
That's what paladins are for.
To get the rest of the party killed, most
No,
likely.
to be self-righteous pricks.
Oh, see, that's not fair.
No, well, see, he knows when his kids are around. We don't.
Fair.
No, I'm in the man cave, so you guys can let the freak flag fly.
Okay. I didn't want to say
Yeah.
anything
If
about
I-
the kids or the wife, you know.
Honestly, if I did this, it'd be a one shot, and it would be Rogue Trailer meets maybe Alien meets Snowpiercer. Imagine having Alien Xenomorph get loose on that train.
Yeah, it'd be a very
Well,
quick
it
one.
would be a one-way trip, that's for sure.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what makes it, by putting the bad guy, the monster, in a very enclosed environment, it increases the tension dramatically. I think we talked about that when we talked about the horror a month ago.
Yeah.
Put the bad guy in a really small environment, and
Like the Train to Busan, that was good. Good zombie movie.
Right. I think sci-fi should have an aspect of horror in it, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. It doesn't always have to, but it's good when it is. When
And,
it's
and the leader of the train will be known as a benefactor.
oh yeah,
Well, I like Shauner's always fond of saying he believes that the very first, the original series of Star Trek was very much meant to be scary, especially back in the first run in the 60s. Every episode had something to scare a good portion of the viewers. A lot of people didn't understand it, what was going on in the 60s, but, there was supposed to be, some aspect of it should be kind of frightening.
It just seemed like growing up, sci-fi was to scare you and fantasy was to coddle you.
I think that there's room for sci-fi and fantasy without getting chocolate in my peanut butter in my chocolate. There's room to add almost any other subgenre to sci-fi. You could make it action, you could make it cerebral. Look at things like movies
Western,
like
Firefly.
Gattaca. There was very little sci-fi effects to the movie, but it still had a lot of sci-fi elements for it, while it also explored morality and government and eugenics and all kinds of fun modern topics.
Yeah, that's such a hard movie to get unless you already own it. I've seen that one time in my whole life.
You know what sci-fi movie flips me the heck out? Reaperman. It's the one with Jude Law where if you didn't pay your bill for the organ transplant you had, they come and rip it out. That one actually gave me nightmares. Movies like this normally don't affect me. I saw that movie and I had a nightmare that they were going for my liver. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know where the imaginary line is.
Yeah.
Okay, Hungar, you're up. If you're running a sci-fi game, a sci-fi RPG, what kind of government are you going to have the players start out in?
All right, it depends. When I like to run a sci-fi game, I like to kind of do a play on Firefly, where you've got the center, and it's a very dystopian but controlled government. Very, the government's in charge of everything, and then you got the outlying areas where, the outer planets of the solar system, where it's pretty much an anarchistic government where they're just doing what they can to survive. So that's what I like to do a lot when I'm running my sci-fi game. They can start off in the core worlds.
I knew you were going to do that.
To get all their technical stuff, but they're going to end up out in the outer worlds, and and that's what they're going to end up doing. But I like to also sometimes I throw in like a Warhammer 40K, where you have the complete dictatorship, you have the communist areas, you have the complete anarchy, and it just depends. I try to throw a little bit of everything in the game for the players, so they never know from one planet to the next what it's going to be. I mean, it could be an area where the planet's ran by corporations. It could be an area where complete total anarchy. You just don't know. You got to throw in that flavor, I think, to make it where it keeps the players on their toes. Because if they get too complacent, what fun is that? That's all.
I think it works with most campaigns. I think the moment the players realize that they control the ship, they can't. The game is basically shot in the leg.
Well, if you're playing a free trader type of game like Traveler, Traveler, you're going to end up with either a scout ship or a merchant ship, or you're going to own shares in a ship, and you're going to be using that ship to do what you're going to do. I've played a lot of Traveler in my life, and it always ends up like this. So you're trying to be a merchant, you're trying to be a scout, you're trying to do your thing to make the money and just be free. Think Firefly,
right?
So they're going.
What about the 800-ton mercenary cruiser? You never ran those games?
Oh no, shit no! They ain't gonna have that much power.
Oh, that was a lot of fun, man.
I think you like your players more than we like ours.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh no, that's not true, because you know what? It's easy to die in space.
It is.
And like you're saying, I like some horror in my space games. They're going to run up. There's a good chance they're going to run into, go to this planet where they think they're going to look around and, find some stuff that they're going to sell. And then, freaking Riddick style, jumping out monsters and stuff on them.
If you do have a nice ship, that doesn't mean there's not 20 above it and 20 more powerful, or 100 or 1,000.
There's always a bigger fish.
Yeah, I like to give
you got a nice merchant ship. You've got a scout ship where you can haul a little bit of cargo, and you're going around searching for stuff and trying to sell stuff. And there's an issue with your ship. You've got to go into, you got to land it to make the repairs, because you're just not set up to, your life support's going out. You need land where you've got oxygen and stuff. There's always things that are going to happen, and you end up on a planet that you don't know anything about, and the next thing you know, there's a T-Rex trying to eat your ass.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Fair.
Dinosaurs on the World. That's always a good one. Jungle World.
Oh, you know what?
Terror World.
Cypher has that with predation, where basically everyone traveled back in time, and then they modify their dinosaurs. So they have lasers and armor, all sorts of
Yeah, I think I remember that cartoon as a kid.
Yeah, I remember.
The Herculoids is what you're thinking of? No,
No,
I'm talking
no,
about this.
Herculoid.
Oh yeah. Oh come on. We all grew up with that stuff.
I love that show. That was just so. Yeah.
There was a cartoon back in the early days. I maybe I've seen like maybe 2 or 3 episodes of it where the good guys were on vegetarian dinosaurs and all the bad guys were on meat eating. I'm thinking to myself, like, this is so dumb.
Yes, it is.
I mean, come on.
That is super.
You don't have to like the author, but it's still a pretty cool setting.
I can't see the title on that one. Oh.
Like I say, you don't have to like her, but
I mean, out of curiosity, am I the only person here that Land Before Time kind of wrecked their childhood for a couple days?
oh yeah,
Well, because I wasn't a child, but I dated women with children who had, for whatever reason, to watch that show. Yeah, that was. Oh God.
That was a rough. That was rough.
Yeah.
It's like
Nothing is as bad as our tracks and Never Ending Story.
Yeah.
Too soon. Still too soon.
30 years later, it's still too soon.
It's only been out for 30 plus years.
I was a kid when I saw it. Still too soon.
No. Almost 40 plus years.
Yeah.
Bite your tongue.
Yeah.
How did
Let's
you
see.
become so depressed in life? The Never Ending Story. Thanks a lot.
Well, that's because the Great Nothing is coming. No,
Yeah.
I never saw it in the theater. I saw it on the TV whenever it came on. You know what? Everyone's talking about their thing. Is I kind of like. Oh, how do I want to put this? Because this is kind of what happened to my father at the end of his military career. Is the space station? You have the semi-benevolent colonel or whatever, who's there, who's trying to finish off the last bit of his career before he retires, and he's just telling the players, please don't screw me. It's like, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Stop making my life hard. I took this job because it's supposed to be nice and cushy. I don't want any trouble. And, you kind of have that aspect. So it's kind of a benevolent autocracy. But I like that one, which is, you have one person, and that's true of whether it's Rogue Trader or something else. The Rogue Trader is still the boss of everything. You don't have anyone it's not really a democracy because you're on a space station. It's like a ship. You still have the captain of the ship. He's still responsible for everything. You still have all of the politics that come down to lower levels. Okay, you still do that. So it's not necessarily adversarial in that aspect, but it's also not that he's going to go in there. And the worst thing you can do as a group of players is to get this guy who just wants it nice, peaceful, he'll leave you alone as long as you don't create waves, with some upstart that wants the Dranka general who's going to come in and crack the whip on everyone and make your life a living hell. And so then they have to balance that act.
I get that. I get. It was like on a different type of show. What was it? MASH. Was it Colonel Potter and Burns?
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Yeah. Or Burns was a pain in the rear for everybody. This is Colonel Potts is like, this is my last go around. Let's just do our jobs and go home.
And I kind of like that dynamic, especially if you put the number 2 as the real jackass. So that's where you have the guys like the colonel, and you don't want to make his life bad because you're going to replace him. And so you can do that kind of aspect, but that's where you can get the interpersonal politics, and it's low enough that the players.
You guys are reading my mind, man.
No,
you guys are jumping ahead to the next question. Okay, the boy had to bring the dog because it's in his contract that he gets to be in.
No, it's because I didn't want him on the floor licking it and eating it.
Okay, now it's your turn, buddy.
What was the question again? It's been an hour. We all forgot.
No, we didn't. If you're running a sci-fi game, what kind of government or political structure would you implement for the players as they first enter the game?
Okay, that's difficult because the story takes place over a roughly 1,000 to 2,000, like 2,000-ish time period or timeline. So there's 5, more accurately 4, and really only 3 that I actually delve deep into, like major areas along the timeline. Obviously, there are smaller things that happen throughout that, but there are 5 technically, 3 which I've actually put that much effort into, like major time periods. Each of them have different nations and like different political structures occurring. The final one is a globalist, like utopian society that like the worst kind of society that could possibly exist in my worldview.
80s.
Then not the 80s, no. The 80s weren't that, they were bad, but not the worst.
No.
would you know?
Oh, your point of view. My point of view, the 80s were fine.
I can read, okay?
We had Ronald Reagan in the 80s. The 80s was awesome.
That's kind of what I mean. The first one, which doesn't really matter, is kind of the setup. Then the first major thing is the beginnings of this new galactic empire, which has recently been formed. It mainly consists of, you have this like capital district type area, which is where like the rulers of that area are who rule the whole nation as a whole. Then there's a smaller subsects which are each ruled by the governments which existed there previously. And despite them all being united under one crown, they're still mostly independent, being like in the, I guess, lower regions of the, even though that doesn't really mean anything. You have on one side, you have this like almost technocratic state ruled by this machine, which still has its loyalty to the crown basically by force, but itself doesn't really care. It just realizes that it can't do anything about it, so it just accepted it.
Cool
Then
storyline.
like closer to it, you have this like federation within a federation that's made up of a bunch of tiny, smaller, like independent kingdoms and like semi-republics that have all kind of banded together, so that they banded together to stop this. Like there were mainly 2 forces in the galaxy that had a lot of power, and the one that ended up winning, the king of that nation wanted to unite the galaxy under his rule, kind of like a Prussia, Germany kind of thing. So you have them, which is a bunch of like tiny states which all have their own, all of them are essentially independent. Like they swear loyalty to their, like the leader of the Federation, who himself swears loyalty to the Emperor, but none of them really need to do anything, and the Emperor doesn't really do anything about it. Then you have this like Elven Kingdom, which is like the 3 major kingdoms that are actually like united in the Empire would be this like pseudo like Elven type thing. These, I guess the closest thing, they'd be like fish, dolphin type people, and then bug people, which are kind of like the 3 major uniting forces and most powerful nations within the Empire. Then you have like the gray aliens, who are kind of like the Germans. They used to be super militaristic, and then they got completely destroyed in the war which united the galaxy.
Against them?
Jackie, you're too smart for your age, dude.
You know, the
Maybe.
entire time he's talking, I'm
Very
thinking
cool
he
original.
needs to read some Celtic history with the High King and Low Kings of Ireland back in the day.
I actually have been doing some several projects which involve the Celts,
Woo!
that's not science fiction. I mean, it kind of is, but this isn't. It's not too science fiction.
You're too
And
smart
then-
for your age, dude.
Yeah.
You've
You
got
know
a
too
very
much.
good idea
Because-
for a world there.
You're making me
World,
feel stupid.
You actually had to get dolphin people. That was all you had to say.
Dolphin people? Yeah, the dolphin people formed this like explorers guild. So they weren't technically a state until they became part of the empire. But yeah, they are more just a loose confederation that were united under a guild of explorers, and they also all happen to be dolphins.
With the problem with dolphins, the problem with the dolphin people though, they'll have to like give you like a I'm sorry card, because when they get really excited, they'll start humping your leg.
Just like a dog.
Well, dolphins
for me-
do that. I mean, you hear stories of parks that have dolphins, and they get excited. Next thing you know, somebody's getting struggle snuggled.
So
No,
speaking of which, based on what he's talking about, it reminds me a lot of Infinity, the RPG with their where they do have like the cetaceans and things like that.
Yeah.
Dolphin people.
But I would like to be intrigued.
This sounds interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
with all the different variations of, and I'm not trying to be a smart mouth with this one. See,
Yeah,
I'm
you
really
are.
trying not to cuss. It hurts my head, and my soul. With all the type of dolphins, do you have actually a particular type, like the bottlenose dolphin? There's like what? I don't know.
Well,
Actually.
because I don't like making species just animals from Earth, but smart. They're not necessarily dolphins, but when I was drawing their borders, I accidentally made it look like a dolphin, which is why I say dolphin people.
Fair enough.
But they
Fair
were
enough.
originally all like kind of like fish type people, but I just slowly changed the design to be more dolphin like.
When he says shit like this, I swear to God, it makes me a complete believer in racial memories, because I actually had a race of dolphin type things in my sci-fi universe. I even had my mom draw them because I couldn't draw dolphins.
Yeah.
And he pulls this shit out of nowhere, and I'm like, these are racial memories, dude. And it only took one generation for him to pull them out. I'll show you the pictures.
I am so sorry, Jack.
It's
Is it all right if I
epigenetic.
continue for a bit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, because of this,
I'll be right back because I got to pee.
oh, okay.
I'll be right back, guys.
I'm sure everybody, including the internet, needed to know that. Their shadow.
He's gonna make a sequel to The Scientist.
Well, to
but-
be fair, you have epigenetic memory. That's what's coming down. That's what your father said,
Okay.
which no one
Alright.
believed in. And though you can look back in Dune and everything else, and now they're finding out it's true, which is very
Wow.
interesting.
Did not know that.
So,
Apparently,
Yeah.
if you go through a traumatic event, it actually rewrites part of your DNA, and then it gets transferred over to your children.
So that,
all right, I need to go apologize to my daughter really quick right now.
Okay.
I'm glad
okay.
I went through all of my shit after my kids were born.
Yeah, after your kids were born, it's too late now, Heather Hungar. You didn't pass your wisdom down.
Yeah.
Wisdom. Don't drink 2 20-ounce Red Bulls and 84 ounces of coffee a day. And smoke.
That's
chain
pretty
smoke
wide.
2.5 packs of Camel non-filters.
dude, I'm a night shift nurse. I mainline that stuff.
I was an over-the-road trucker.
You take a little cup of Pebble Ice, you pour a 5-hour energy shot into it, you top it off with a Rockstar Monster, you hold your nose, you shoot it all. Doctors call that an arrhythmia in a cup.
You're not an ER doctor, right? Nurse,
No, I'm
are
a
you?
psych nurse. Psych, ICU, and ER, their nurses and doctors all have like a screw loose for some reason.
Well, I
As
don't
a
want you.
person who frequents the hospital a lot, I
Yes,
can say,
you know.
because I'm in a lot of ICUs
Yeah.
and PCUs, I will have to say that the night nurses are a special breed.
All night people are a special breed. I used to do that, and by 4 a.m., everything kind of goes.
Hey Jackson, what kind of world ship? Which kind of ships do you have to get to the various worlds? Are you using generation ships? Are you using warp? Are you using?
Yeah, it's more like a
postal
warp
light,
type thing.
light?
FPLs.
Yeah, there were generation ships, but because technology is so advanced in this world, it's mostly like warp, like faster than light travel, being able to get from one side of the galaxy to another in only a matter of like months if we were to use Earth time. I have created my own time system, though it is very similar to Earth thing. I'm not doing that Star Wars thing like, well, it just so happens that the capital planet is exactly like Earth in every single way. So yeah, it just the time system is just Earth. But
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
I like
But
that.
yeah. So
Sounds very good. Sounds
because-
very well thought out. You should try to work on that. Publish it.
yeah, it started a long time ago, which is why it takes place over such a long period of time. Like in the beginning, you have the Empire, it's united, and then like a couple decades later, you have the king of these like crustacean type beings, and
Wait,
he
there's crab
died.
people too?
They're kind of like crabs, and the only reason is because I was thinking because what happens later is they abolish their system of monarchy and just kind of have a prime minister and then the emperor above that. But quickly after, because it comes out that it was, or there's this conspiracy that it was the emperor who killed their king, so they almost immediately declare independence and take over like an entire arm of the galaxy, which used to be under their control before the galaxy united. But
Jackie, if you make a game,
Yeah.
I will Kickstarter the hell out of it.
No joke.
Yeah.
Now, are
You
your
want to
crab
write it? I'll play the hell out
Yeah.
of it.
wait? Is your crab people stingy with money?
yes, that's why. Because after like a couple years later, they form a pirates guild. So you have these the remnants of the old crab family. Yes, they are the crab family. So you have these pirates going around looking for as much money as they can, and like they have this whole empire to themselves, this little fiefdom over here, like in the northwest, kind of. They're looking around for money, for gold. They're basic, just because I wanted crabs, just Mr. Crab. That was the joke.
Yeah.
Is there
And it
any
turned
humans?
into a big part of the story. But
What
yeah,
are the
that
humans?
is
Do you have
exactly
humans?
the joke.
Do you have humans? Humans?
Yes, humans were. What happened was in the final days of the war, the remaining leaders of the losing side of the war fled to several of their like outposts, and because the gray aliens are part of the losing side, a bunch of them fled to their outpost near Earth. There was a battle on Earth. Earth is dead. It's gone. Earth is just a radiated wasteland. So is Mars, but it kind of already is. So a huge group of humans fled and formed this like fully independent, just like floating cities in the sky, or in space more accurately. And they have this little kingdom that is completely independent from the empire, where the majority of the humans live. So
I'm just
humans,
gonna say, hey, he's just gonna take over.
so
Okay, now
humans are just
Write
concentrated
that
there.
story.
I want to see
Yeah,
this.
I am.
And honestly, I want to see this as a system agnostic source book. Right? I want all the lore and the governments and everything. You know, you sell a PDF or self-publish, drive-through, Kickstarter, whatever. Because I want to play this.
I could
Yeah,
run
because-
something like this through maybe Starfinder.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
'Cause it's so-
I'm not sure if I want to continue because like I kind of just want to like leave you guys here because I realized that if I want to like explain or not explain but give a summary of the whole thing, I'm gonna take up the whole thing because I've only described the first third.
Sure. That's why I
Okay,
want to see
real
it as
quick,
a
yeah,
system
real quick.
agnostic source book.
But
Wait,
it's
what?
good. You got to keep going.
Okay,
Guys,
okay,
I'm
okay.
getting extremely tired. I might have to bounce and pass out.
All
Okay,
right.
All right.
before you go, Hungar, who here thinks the little guy should have his own damn channel?
Go
Yeah.
for it.
You should.
Russell thinks that
You
you should
never know.
I'm already working on 3 channels right now. I'm going to do that one day. One is going to
You
be
need to
political.
kickstart
I'm
your
probably not
game.
going to talk about it much. The other one is going to be about this story, and the other one is going to be whatever other things I want to do.
I think what he should do
Sounds good.
is go over and he should put something like a world anvil, and then he needs to flesh out, each world and each character, and that's where he should be doing this, like the 10-minute things. and so here, and then so here. But
Yeah.
but no.
Alrighty,
Yeah.
guys. I will catch you on the flip side.
All
Hey, it's
right,
good
take
talking
care,
to you.
Hungar. We love you, and we can't wait to see you again. And make
All
sure
right.
you give that
Thank you.
mom of yours a big hug.
Yep.
Hey, Hungar,
Take
it's
care.
good to see you without all of the backdrop of the hospital. So
Yeah, the hospital
you
bed.
better keep it that way.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best.
Stay out of the hospitals. We're praying for you.
Thank you much. I appreciate the
Prepare
prayers. I
yourself.
believe in it. I'll see you guys later.
Take care, buddy.
Take it easy, buddy.
Yeah.
Fucking James.
James. Yeah, I saw that comment a while ago. He is.
James is the best.
He is very much the best. But yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to cut you off because I want to get to one more question before everybody, just turns it into the Jackie show, because I really want him to do something with this, and I try to help him, but he keeps stealing my ideas without me even telling him about him, telling him
Psychic.
about them.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really simple. I absolutely love not only monarchies, but characters like the Emperor and the best
true.
of the best of all time. Thank you, Baron, for reminding me. Ming the Merciless.
I was just gonna say, yeah, Phil Flash Gordon.
I'm telling you, and they don't always have to be, a bad guy. I've got one empire that actually has like Connell, don't pucker. A lady paladin who runs the empire, and she is as good can be, and that creates its own problems because intelligent species don't want that, but that's
Why
what
would
they
I
got.
fuck it? Why
Because
would
she's
I
a
fuck-
paladin. Because she's a paladin.
I thought it was because she was a woman. I'm like, huh?
Oh no. Oh, but check this out. One of these days, I'll break out the picture. I had this comic book artist draw her for me a long time ago, and she's freaking the hottest comic book character I've ever seen next to Starfire. And I'll have to show you this picture. It's absolutely stunning. I like monarchies.
Monarchies are the best form of government. No question.
I'm going to have to say my sexist aspect here, which is she's lawful good 3 weeks out of the month, and then she's chaotic evil the other week. There it goes.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
Oh, come
Glad
on.
I can't hear you.
I'm just laughing at Bo at his reaction.
I was thinking more like a straight chaotic neutral. Chaos for its own sake. This week is my 20th anniversary of my wedding, so
Congratulations. I actually saw a picture of her today when I was going through the Facebook thing, and I hope you don't mind a whole lot of political posts from my Facebook channel, because you're going to get them. Fortunately, I did look, and I did a little snooping on your page before, vetting you and all, and I think we're going to get along just fine.
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay,
hold on. Did you go on my Facebook?
No, actually, I didn't.
Thank God. Anyways, moving on.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, this question is really weird, but it's actually helping me for a video I'm working on next week. Because next week I'm doing, as I do my why we play the game, I've got like a week of videos, provided I can get to them without life getting in the way. It's all kind of a mini series within a mini series.
Like Days of Our Lives?
No, more like I don't know how to describe it, but you'll see if you actually watch those videos. Okay, we've all agreed that for the most part, the player characters are usually like the crew of a ship or a gang or a group or a group of people. The player characters at the table are usually some sort of group, right?
I hope so. Otherwise,
you have to have some motivation to keep them together, either internal or external, right?
Right. Okay. Now, how do you guys determine who's the leader?
Oh God.
Okay, this is I'm
you
I'm
talking?
answering this question last because it's going to take me an hour to answer the question.
Okay, well, if we have time, we'll get to you. I'm gonna let Grim go first again, just because it's easy to keep track.
Yeah.
I would let the players say, let's see what they fight it out. Say, all right, because one of them's going to automatically be that person with enough charisma, probably, and who knows the game enough or whatever, and they're going to say, yeah, that person, we want them to be the leader of the group. So I'll let the players decide because that's more fun. Plus, they might they might argue a bit and do some entertaining things for the game master. So I would let the
All right.
players decide who's the leader.
Pizza is not
Okay.
bribery.
Okay, and is that because of the player is better suited, or because the character they are playing?
Good point. I would say it's probably because the player himself is better suited than necessarily the character, but he will probably take that character, whatever it is, and make a good leader also. So I would say, once they've decided, I don't care. I can mess with all of them or none of them or all or some. It won't be hard. So that's what I would do. Let them decide and enjoy it.
Okay, Owen.
Okay,
I
I'm
guess
going to
full
bring up.
question.
This was
Unless
a,
you
this
had
was a
something
sci-fi one, but we had a ship. Normally, the person who picks the pilot or the rogue trader or whatever's the one that's supposed to be the head is going to be the leader. I mean, it's just going to be natural. If you say, I want to be the pilot, and then the next person says, I want to be the captain, and another person says, I want to be the science officer, well, you know what? You guys have already decided by picking their thing. The only problem is whenever you have everyone that wants to be the captain. But normally I haven't found that because as I've gotten older, I'm like, okay, I'll step back. Now, the reason I mention this, I'm laughing, is because I like to play the navigator. And if the navigator doesn't like where the pilot's going to go, things happen that they end up where the navigator decides. And I have done that before because the captain has to sleep somewhere sometime, and you went, oh, I'm sorry, I must have misprogrammed the coordinates. I must have rolled a bad die roll. I don't know how in the world that we overshot it by, so many.
I have no idea why we're suddenly on Risa, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like, hey, well, I mean, a perfect example, we could all laugh about this, is Han Solo. And he says, they're supposed to be somewhere around here. Alderaan isn't around here. Well,
Yeah.
It could have just been that he misprogrammed it and they went to the, anyway, that's what I do as a player if I want to sabotage where he's going and I don't like it as a navigator. And usually no one has to know because the DM is supposedly rolling anyway. And so we go, oh, we overshot, but we need to pick up some stuff from there. But normally the players are going to pick, and they're going to. It's very obvious who's going to be the captain because he says, "I want to be," because whether it's Traveler or Star Frontier is a little bit different, but normally Star Frontiers you can look at the skill set and where they want to be. Like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter what game it is. If you're the one that has navigation and sailing and whatever, you're going to do that. It's just like Captain Kirk. No one really cares, but the other part is, and I think we're talking about this, then you get the other aspect. I'm going to go a little bit further into this. The players don't even have to be the captain in some cases.
That's true.
It's just like whenever you play Dark Heresy, the Inquisitor is telling you where you're going to go and you're going to go from there. Because let's face it, the reality of it is sometimes the players don't want to get into political bullshit. They want to go over and gun, this isn't, unless you're in a small ship, like a small scout ship, the captain should not be ever leaving it. He's kind of stuck to the ship. He's supposed to go down with the ship. So there's that aspect. So if there's a real conflict of it, and you say, well, is it okay if we let the NPC do it? And then you guys can do the stuff on the ground where they don't have to spend all their skill points trying to do the command aspect. Then that's the other aspect. So yeah, those are the ways to do it. Is generally the players are going to decide, and if they can't make a decision, then we'll just put it off the NPC, and then you guys can go do all the exploration around the world while the captain stays behind.
Oh, I forgot. Do you mind if I say one thing?
Not at all.
If it's not a rogue group, which I was thinking, and it is like, say, a traveler Soleimani expedition, and they've already rolled up their ranks. Well, we'll go by the ranks, but you'll always have something interesting. You'll always have the players arguing with the captain. Inevitably, especially if he's power hungry, he'll say, "I want to go here." They'll say, "No, we want to go here." So that always is fun.
Yeah.
But
And as the navigator, so you just
Go
tell me
by
where to go,
ranks.
Captain.
yeah,
And since he
exactly.
normally doesn't have the navigation skill, I decide where we go. No.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that you're a Farscape fan yourself. You know, I'm normally in a small circle of people who's like, I like Farscape. Why everybody's like, what is wrong with you?
I like the pilot.
Yeah, if the pilot did not like where the ship was going, he changed the. Oh, sorry.
I only watched the show for one reason, and that was Chani, and I didn't watch it enough.
Oh, yeah, that shows the reason why I hate all other alien shows where the aliens have to be bipedal.
I know. That was the big attraction for Farscape for me. I'm like, you have real actual aliens. Now, Babylon 5 had one with one.
Babylon 5 did a good job.
And it was one scene, and that was it. They blew their budget for season 1 on that one scene, never brought it back, and it was one of the coolest aliens.
Which alien are you talking about?
Babylon 5. He's talking about
the praying mantis guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the angel race or whatever that.
No.
That was
terribly done.
Well,
I've already given my reason for humanoid aliens, because considering my story is mostly a visual medium.
Sure.
I both can make super complex and bizarre aliens, which I do, like dolphin people, for example. They aren't just big fish with legs. I could draw one, but I'm too lazy to do so.
I'm going to bring up something here because, and a little bit off topic before I guess we get back to Connell and Bo.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring this up is, do you have to have live action, or are you happy with cartoons and CGI animated TV for your sci-fi if they had to make it into a movie or into a
Well, I mean, my stuff is probably already going to be mostly animated anyways. Like if I do anything with it, it'll probably be either through documentary, pseudo documentary type stuff, which is something I really want to make several of, or animation.
I'm just asking for you guys is if they did the medium, would you have a problem with it if they did the CGI cartoon style or not?
To be honest,
I think animation is just better.
Whatever
for
it
this.
is, it just has to be done well.
Despite how much I'm going to make my son cringe, I would literally probably go with anime.
Yeah, me too.
Just because, he's thoroughly disappointed. He's going to disown me as a father.
I will.
Just because they do so much, and they don't seem to question, the weirdness. They'll do whatever needs to be done to make a good story in anime. And I don't necessarily mean the characters have to have that traditional anime, face, because the bodies and all that, if you take away their specific style of faces, everything else is perfect.
No, wait a minute. Shadow, if you look at it, I'm not sure if you saw it as the second, if you saw Ghost in the Shell,
Standalone complex?
Yes, that to me is exactly the type of anime that I want. I don't want the weird cartoony,
This is where I have to get off the boat. Anime and shows like that don't do anything for me because of my vision issues.
Okay.
Where
That's
Jim Henson with Farscape, Jim Henson with Star Wars, Jim Henson with the Ninja Turtles, Jim Henson blah, Jim Henson that. If I was going to make a movie with aliens and whatnot, I would use that company because they already have a track record of making physical props, movie magic, where it is, it being like the T-Rex off Jurassic Park. It wasn't CGI, it was a robot.
I'm going to bring I think the real point really comes down to, and this is for my feeling, is whether it's Star Trek or other stuff, which I didn't like, was that there's a certain cost element to it. and
Yep.
and that's what makes it practical.
Right. That's
Excuse
why
me
I
for
like
a minute.
animation, because the money factor is just not an issue. What you need? You need a castle. Okay. You need a starship. You need it's just a pen and paper, and you can get whatever you want.
What was
However,
the budget?
Kyle,
Hold
for
on.
you, I'll do it all in black and white. How's that?
Hey, you stole my
You know,
thunder. I was
a
going
lot
to
of
say, if I
my-
was going to do a show, I would either do it in black and white or radio or practical effects, because if you have a show and it's not good on a screen about that big, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
It's got to be good. It's got to have good writing and good production, good acting first, and everything else is secondary to me. Like when Avatar came out, everybody said you have to see it in 3D. Why? Because it sucks.
Well, you know what? I saw Avatar, and I'll be honest, wearing those glasses made it darker, and I actually preferred them without the glasses, without the 3D, just because I like the brighter images. But Avatar is basically a super. I mean, it's basically animation anyway.
Yeah,
That movie was so lost on me with all these bright colors. I'm like, what? No, this is just a retelling of Kevin Costner's Dancing with Wind, not Dancing with Wolves.
Dancing with Wolves in space. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen Avatar.
James L. Vampire Hunter D was awesome, but you haven't lived till you've watched Captain Harlock.
I hate you all.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not trying to be an ass. The Avatar movie was good for what it was, but to me, it was just a retelling of Dances with Wolves.
I mean, I was okay with some of the ideas.
It was like a trope. It's the white savior trope. It's fine.
Yeah.
I was okay with it, but the fact that they were like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever, and now they're going to come out with the sequel or whatever it is.
They're making 4 freaking more.
They were supposed to make
That's
4 more, and they're supposed to come out. Isn't it in December?
Yeah, he's going to be dropping one like every 2 years or something like that. But yeah, there's supposed to be like 4 more.
Nobody cares about Avatar.
That's not true.
I haven't heard about that movie in years since it came out, and I was like,
Avatar had a huge. It's like saying no one cared for Firefly. It had a huge following. Just because you don't dig it doesn't mean other people have the same opinion.
Avatar's the one with the blue people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not the other one.
If tell you how to have wrong fun.
If cats really made love to Smurfs, you got avatars.
Thank you, South Park.
Wait, really?
We should thank
Yes.
South Park for a lot of-
They made fun of that with it was like Dances with Smurfs is what they were calling it or something like that. And
I've never watched South Park in my entire life.
We are so far
You're
with
kidding
you.
me.
I don't know what the question is now.
How is that even possible?
South Park.
When South Park came out, my grandparents weren't going to allow me to watch it. They barely allowed me to watch The Simpsons. And by the time I moved to the States, I was so far behind on all of it, I kind of said, screw it.
You missed out, buddy.
You should start watching it.
I'm just saying that the one for Avatar was actually pretty good with Smurf berries. They used Smurf berries instead of unobtainium.
Unobtainium.
Well,
in Avatar, that's what it was. They literally called it, because I guess James Cameron, I have all these amazing ideas, except I don't know what to call this material. We'll call it unobtainium. That's literally what he called it. I mean,
anything else would have been better.
You know what? I mean, people have named things, given things some pretty, wacky names in the past. So it didn't really kill me or suspend my disbelief type of thing. But it was almost like, okay, that's the last time anybody gets to do anything like that. From now on, it's got to sound real. It can't sound like some half-assed, pull it out of my ass title for this.
Some of the best sci-fi movies have nothing but pulling out my rear end aspects to it, and I'm still
no.
cussing.
I'm talking about names. I'm talking specifically of names.
So am I. Freaking trimmers.
No, of a mineral or an element.
Oh, okay.
Because after a while, the people in the future are going to look back and go, "Oh, these guys didn't know what the hell they were doing."
Okay, one word for you.
Hmm.
Pognium.
What?
I'm not going to elaborate.
I guess pugnium is a thing.
The strawberries taste like strawberries. The snozberries taste like strawberries. I mean, they've been doing this crap since day 2.
Okay, does that have to involve No Man's Sky? Because that's why I wouldn't know it.
It actually does. It actually does.
No Man's Sky was actually a really good game about
What's
2
it-
years into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after
Oh.
like the next, not even that. It did eventually get good, and now it's like really good. The problem is, me and him have essentially done everything, and whilst there's a lot more stuff to do now, there's been a lot of updates. We just have too much stuff to do to get back into it.
Yeah.
I have that problem with
Forgive me for eating in front of folks.
Oh, you mean
Oh.
like
It's just
me?
mix it up and Max will kill us.
Yeah.
how dare you
I
be
feel
an
like
actual person.
Hey, Hunter
really
was
quick.
snacking. It's okay, man.
Really quick, multi-gunman, I love Trimmers 1, maybe possibly 2.
I
When
never
it
saw
turned
two.
into the guy from Family Ties show with the 3rd and 4th and 5th one,
Good.
it
Bert is the
lost
only
me.
reason to watch Tremors, okay? Bert is the only reason to watch Tremors.
I can
watched-
see watching
I watched
watching him in Family Ties, where he was more or less a hippie, to go into a gun-toting,
Oh, speaking
Love
of which,
Bert.
I'm sorry to derail this, but the guy who did Bert,
Yeah.
The one from Family Guy, he does miniature painting as well.
Does
Oh,
he?
really?
Yes,
Cool.
now when I say miniature, he does more of miniature trains and stuff. But
Oh yeah.
but they were
Still-
showing him.
Google gobble, Google gobble. One of us. One of us.
I
I
saw
love
him
the
because he
only
was talking
time
about
that
doing
Multi-gun guy, I love
airbrush
all the
on
trimmers.
What was it story? The guy who played the recent Superman, when he got the call to say he got the role,
Henry
he
Cavill?
didn't. Yeah, he didn't take the phone call because he was too busy playing WoW. He was in
Yeah,
Noble Raid.
he plays 40K. He's a custodies player.
He plays WoW too.
Oh, he probably does.
Well, you know what? I have to give Henry Cavill credit because he did that, and then he was. What gets me about is for The Witcher is he was correcting the writers, and the writers don't even like the source material. How do you allow writers to ever write anything if they don't love the source material? If you don't
Yeah,
love the source material,
stupid.
find a new writer.
I think the word you're looking for is nepotism.
No, I think it has to
Yeah, that's
Or
wokeism.
cronyism.
I think that there's a little bit too much knob cleaning myself involved. in
Oh.
there.
Does that knob cleaning? Does that come with a couch?
Yeah, yeah, but it's only casting.
Ah, that's right. That's right. So still in your man cave there, Bo? Really
I'm
talking.
sorry for derailing the whole thing, whole discussion.
Yeah, you're right. We were, supposed to have a topic.
Well, it's actually Connell's turn to answer
Oh,
the question.
It has been
Right.
a while.
What
Who's
was
the
the
leader,
question?
Connell? Who's the leader?
The one who draws the short straw. How do I do it? Even in fantasy, how do I do? I normally let the players work out that madness. I feel as a DM, it's not my place to tell the rest of the players who's in control. Now, if I could say, an NPC is a leader of the guard, and if your NPCs are a member of the guard, then yes, the sheriff, blah blah blah, is in charge. He is the one who's going to be giving you orders. But when it's something like what you're talking about, where it's a merchant ship, I let the players work out that on their own, because there's normally that one guy almost in every party that thinks that he should be in charge, and there's another guy who says, no, I don't want it. Oftenly, I look at the guy who says, I don't want it, because historically, in the human species, it's leaders that are reluctant to the calling that often make the best leaders than those who try to hunt it down.
I hate to
That
agree
may
with
be
you,
true, but I
but
also
I
kind of
agree with you.
That may be
One
true,
at
but I
a time.
disagree.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you.
But you agree?
Kind of, yeah.
And
It's just-
I know you're right, but I disagree.
It's all right. I'm older than you. I'm right by principle.
I hate saying it while you say monarchs. Monarchy only works until you get people like the current king of England.
King Charles? I'll say it.
Well, yeah, I couldn't even remember his name because
Oh, he came out retarded.
Oh, man, that's messed up. And Multigun, welcome back to the show.
I mean, he is the most whiny. I don't know. I mean, Queen Elizabeth was not. I'm not saying she, she was completely faultless.
Oh, man, he was hardcore.
But she at least did not whine over a inkwell.
Well, Queen Elizabeth was probably the last one that really understood what it meant to be queen. The rest of them are just spoiled brats, and you can see them when they start getting
Yeah, and
so
why
inbred.
exactly is that? We've removed all responsibility from their job and reduced them to figureheads that just have a lot of money. What do you expect? We've given a family that used to have so much importance in the world, so much power, so much respect, so much honor, and we've taken all but the money away from it.
I'm going to bring this up.
All right, I'm ready for your show now, Jack.
I'm going to bring this up. Is all we have to
You're right,
remember is what happened to Spain. Spain did all that stuff, and they got idiot kings too. The problem is they're
They're inbred.
They're too inbred. That's the problem with
Well,
it.
the line that World War I would never have happened if Queen Victoria was still alive.
Well,
World War I would
hemophilia
never
came from
happen if
her, didn't
several
it? With the
things
whole
were
thing with the Roman.
Yeah, but she was all the monarchs of Europe were related to her, right?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
World War I was almost guaranteed to happen because, and I'll tell you why. This is interesting. The troop trains and the armament started, and those train schedules were so important that all those nations could not have stopped the war if they wanted to, because if they were the one that stopped, the other guys kept going. Their troops are going to be in the field and they're going to be marshaled out. Your depot guys, everybody's going to be, it's going to be a mass confusion. You're not going to have your guys forming up with their units. They couldn't have stopped that war once they were mobilizing. Even before the war, they couldn't have stopped it because they would have been the one who, and they knew it. They would have been the one who was caught off on the left foot.
Flat-footed.
Yep, I mean, Kaiser Wilhelm II and Tsar Nicholas, they did not want the war to happen, especially between their two countries. They did not want it. But there's nothing they could have done.
Well, and see, that makes for great stories is where you're caught up in situations that are beyond your control and just spiral out.
Yeah.
For your bad decision, which is why I always love Babylon 5, Londo Malari. I made this decision, and now it's taken its whole life of its own.
Yep. I mean,
sorry about that.
Kaiser Wilhelm was called the Peace Kaiser for the majority of his reign before the war. There's a reason for it.
Absolutely.
I mean, if World War I did not happen, do you think if War I did not happen, do you think the Russian Russian royal family would have survived a little bit longer?
They would have probably survived until their son, because their son. That was the big problem with their son, was that whole thing of
he was bleeding everywhere.
Well, he was a hemophilia, and the only person that could deal with it is some crazed Orthodox monk.
Rasputin.
I know, but you know what I love about Rasputin is he was shot,
he was a whore,
and stabbed and poisoned, and what killed him? Drowning.
Actually, poison's not technically true because the poison they were using came inert once you baked it.
Well, that may be true, but the whole point is that they had a lake full of arsenic, and they did tons of arsenic. But what gets me about it was they shot him, they stabbed him, and it wasn't until they threw him into the river that he drowned. I'm like, I don't want to hear crap about my character taking a few hits. All right.
Yeah.
It was crazy monk.
Yeah.
I mean,
right up there with Blackbeard, where it was shot 5 times, stabbed 22, and then they finally cut off his head.
Then his headless body swam around the ship twice, which is not true, but it goes along with the story. I'm not making this up, Shadow.
No,
Sure,
no,
no.
I know. I just
Legend.
heard the same story like recently.
I mean, there's some badass people that are like, how the hell did they survive? And then you get like someone, what was it, King Harold or whoever, that not King Harold, that was one of the kings, where he falls off his horse and dies. I'm like, it's only
Richard
like
the Lionheart fell off his horse and died.
which one?
Richard the Lionheart fell off his horse and died in France when he was attending to his Aquitaine, his real land, because England was just the farm where he got money every once in a while.
I think he died because he was here for
Wait,
died because
King Richard?
Are you talking about Richard III? He died of a crossbow bolt shot at a siege of a small fortress. And then when the man was brought before him, because people say Richard the Lionhearted was vicious, the man that was brought before him, he as he was dying of both gangrene and severe, he had severe blood loss. He told the man, as he's trembling and brought forward, he said, "Good shot." And he said, "Let nothing happen to him or his family." Now that's an honorable man.
I don't know if it's true or not, but there was movies always have a way of screwing up history one way or the other, at least the retelling of some history. And I love Russell Crowe for Robin Hood. I really do. I love the heck out of that. Man, this is hurting. Out of that movie. And the way they had pictured the way that King Richard Lionheart died was some cook went up on the tower. He's like, food. Everybody else came and it's like, went to eat, and he picks up the crossbow and he gets a lucky shot. And he plucks, as Grim put it, in the neck. I don't know. I've heard a couple different variations of that story where it was a kid who did it. I've heard it was a soldier who did it. I heard it was a cook. So I don't know which of the three is true, but the don't let no harm come to this, I've heard that multiple times.
So William the Conqueror died from falling off a horse. Philippe Co, King of France, died from. There's a bunch of royalty that died from falling off a horse.
Bunch of wussies.
And I'm thinking, look, I'm not going to take your characters off for that, okay?
horse or not.
What was I going to say?
It comes back to you get a paper cut, roll for limb loss. Anyway, sorry.
Like if you're riding super fast on a horse and you fall off and hit your neck, you're probably going to break it.
There's this program on YouTube. They're called Epic Rap Battles of History. I don't know if any of you guys seen it.
Oh, no. I've heard of it, and it sounds like the worst thing ever.
It's not. They're rapping. Yes, if you don't like rap, that's fine. But the facts that they throw at each other are actually historically correct. They had King Richard versus Ragnar Lothbrok, and Ragnar Lothbrok throws at him. It's like, how? I'm not a language person, but how can you be a king of a country if you don't even speak their language? Yeah. He didn't. King Richard did not speak English. He spoke French fluently.
Well, and that followed for about, what was it, 200 or 300 years.
Then they started speaking German. No,
but no. Before the royalty started speaking English. That's what I find interesting for that. But it's also a way of separating yourself from the commoner. Remember, there's this big, we're very egalitarian nowadays, but back then that's the way that they would try to separate themselves. Oh, you don't know French? Then obviously you're a commoner. That's.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of those ones on Epic Battle, Epic Rap, Epic whatever. They're not great, but there's some like Teddy Roosevelt versus Churchill. That was awesome. You've seen some of these, haven't you, Omana?
I haven't seen them. I've heard of them, but I haven't seen them.
They're worth watching. I mean, there's a Superman versus a Goku that's just funny.
Okay.
All
right. I guess before we cut off Nathan here, Bo, I guess we should really get back on the track.
It's been Bo's turn for a while.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey.
There's two elements here, right? Who is the leader? First is you got to separate the player from the character, right? So the players can hash it out. Whoever wants to be the leader of the party of the game I'm running right now, right? Who wants to be the leader? Whoever steps up has to take certain character traits, right? The first thing they've got to do in my world, because it's like a Starship Troopers type military, they've got to be a career person. They can't sign up for a term. And that affects how you role play. I've got guys in my party that want to, serve their term and get out. I've got guys that want to be career. They want to be in the mechanized infantry until they die, right? They want to be generals or whatever. They want to be citizens in the Republic. So find the guy who wants to be the leader, make them have the requisite adjustments to their character, and then play it. Play the character. Play if you've got to go to NCO school for the next 6 months. You've got to learn how to be a sergeant or whatever, and pay the character points and act like the leader. And if you're not really prepared to have that kind of investment in the game, maybe being the leader is something that somebody else should do.
That's a good point.
I like that.
And that's why I mentioned about sometimes maybe just having the NPC do it so the players can go out and just have their fun.
That is something that that does sound like a good idea in a lot of cases.
I tend to go with who owns the ship.
Well, that's true too.
I mean,
You gotta realize I'm going mostly from a traveler perspective. Okay, and in traveler, it especially old traveler, new traveler not so much. Maybe if you're a merchant or a scout, otherwise it's different. But if you own the ship, you have the responsibility of paying the bills.
Exactly.
And sorry, you're not captain. It's my ship. You're not
There
telling
you
me
go.
what to do in my house, my ship. I let you on, but that's traveler.
Okay,
If it was Star Frontiers, that would be a way different thing.
Another good point. Yep.
Do they pay points to own the ship? I mean,
Yes.
how do you in the game?
Okay, in traveler, for every term of service, you get a reward. Let's
roll
call
the
it
dice.
mustering out benefit.
You have to lose.
And if you roll a 6 on one of those benefits on the right table, you get one. I think it's 1/4 or 1/5 of a ship.
Right.
You get ship
If
shares
nobody-
of a certain, and that
Right.
equals a certain amount. Yeah, it's
Right. And if nobody else does, then the ship's yours in total when you pay off the bill. But if
Right.
two different characters get a ship share, they can decide to go in on, halvesies or something. Or they could go, no, we each own our own ship and let's just make a team of ships or a flight or something like that, a wing. But it's usually the owner.
I'm going to ask you a quick question here. Has anyone seen Avenue 5?
No.
Wait. That's with Hugh.
The
That's
closest
with
I come to that
house.
is Fifth Avenue bars.
It has Hugh Laurie. Yeah,
It's on HBO Max. I've been meaning to.
Here's the reason: is because that exactly has it where they have the owner of the ship who's being relegated to the back seat because he's a complete ass. That's because as soon as I hate saying it, as soon as the shit hits the fan, at that point, then you have to get the leader in there.
Mm-hmm.
But what's funny is they don't really have a leader in there. They just have an actor pretending to be the captain, and they've decided to make him captain despite the fact he's only an actor.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
I'm
that's
gonna
not
watch
the first.
it.
That's not the first. That's actually happened before, where people will own a ship but hire a captain.
Exactly, and that's what should happen. Yeah, and then the captain is still responsible for everything on that ship, regardless.
It's a sci-fi show.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
speaking
is,
space-
but it's a comedy
Ah,
on HBO Max called Avenue 5, and the basic aspect was it's a cruise liner that goes out, and all of a sudden the owner decides to do something which throws the ship out of its original orbit or its original flight path, and then they have to try getting it back, and everything they do just makes things worse and worse and worse. Like and the real captain, which no one knew was the captain, died in an accident while trying to fix something outside the ship, and
my
so now they don't have it. So yeah,
Hugh Laurie from House, right?
correct.
Yeah.
From I know him from
Oh.
Blackadder mostly.
Yeah, Blackadder. Yeah.
Yeah.
But House.
You know, he was also in 101 Dalmatians.
Oh yeah. He was one of the bad.
He was
goons.
actually really funny in that movie.
And he was the
It was
dad
kind
of
of-
Stuart Little.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
I
Sorry, I
know,
got
God,
little
that's right.
I got little kids. I'm sorry.
So,
Yeah,
so,
you're
so-
right, though.
Wait,
That was actually a really good
okay,
movie.
that was actually a
Stuart
thing
Little
with
was
Michael J.
incredible.
Fox.
Yes.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
that
it
was
was
a bad
actually really
fever
good.
dream. I thought that was just a
That
bad
movie
fever
made
dream I had when I was a kid.
I don't
Oh,
remember anything about it.
so
No, that was
it's-
actually a really good movie.
Because
Even
they made
even
like
for
5 of those things, didn't they?
Colin? Is that the one? With
I
the
haven't
chicken
thought
man?
of
I don't know
So,
what
so
you're
if
talking
anyone
Sorry,
wants to
what, Bob?
see a non-combat ship go to hell, Avenue 5's a good one to see.
Oh no! What was it? Non-combat. What was that movie with Sam O'Neill where it's basically he go into the Hellverse? Event Horizon. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No
That's
combat in
a little
that
bit
one.
different.
Everybody's just screwed.
Well, yeah.
That-
Well, that's what I mean is you just go over for it, and there's like, there's no combat with anyone. Well, I guess there's some combat inside, whenever people just want to strangle each other, but it's a comedy thing. But some of the people thought that it was just a simulation at one point. They're like, I'm going to prove it's a simulation, and so they all get in the airlock and like, it's not real, and then they open the airlock and they freeze to death. Just like, oh my god. Yeah, it's all tongue in cheek, but I think that there are a lot of good ideas in there of how to make things like, instead of just having the ship blow up, let me just add one more complication and another complication, and like the most recent one, oh hey, we found this place where we can refuel, and we just happen to bring on the giant cannibal.
What was it? What was that show? It was the last of the Stargate series, Stargate Universe.
Yeah, got canceled after like most of one season.
Everything that could go wrong went wrong, and it went wrong fast.
That was actually one of my favorite Stargate series.
Yeah, same
I
here.
like that. They didn't finish it.
I
It had
liked,
so much
I mean,
potential.
I liked Atlantis just basically because of Jason Momoa's character. I thought it was interesting. But other than that, I kind of got burnt out on the original one. And especially when it went on its 100th season. I know it didn't do 100 seasons, but it felt that way.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I mean that's the whole thing, and every time they do something, it just makes it worse, and that's the way that I feel. Like, I won't kill you, I'll just make you wish you were dead. So
Yeah.
that's
You'd be
the
surprised what you can live through.
Unfortunately.
You're falling off the horse.
well exactly, but that's my whole point. If you're going to be playing a game, it's like, well, this should kill you. It's like, yeah, but you know what? We'll just make you lose a hand this time. We'll make you do this, or you're like coming out with like, you got the hook, the eye patch, and the peg leg, like,
Mobile infantry, baby, the man I am today.
Oh yeah.
But in the book, the sergeant had a full-on robot suit that was completely indistinguishable from real flesh and bone. Of course, in the movie, they had to make it the MI seem more malevolent than it was in the book.
No. I thought in the book he did have the robotic arms, and it just shot. Well, he had the prosthetics. I know that he had.
Yeah, they were, but because Rico, I read this book at least once a year. Rico sees the same sergeant after he's inducted, and he's no longer, full on quadriplegic in the chair. He's got his robot suit on, and they do that to dissuade people from joining the MI.
Wasn't he a lieutenant colonel? Wasn't he a lieutenant colonel? He was shocked on how high.
The teacher's the lieutenant colonel.
Yeah,
Ratchet.
that's what I'm referring
not
to.
the recruiting sergeant that Rico sees when he goes to join the MI. After they test him for literally every other MOS and find him wanting, all the way down to dog handler, and he's not fit to be a dog handler. And so the recruiter says, "Well, hey, you can be a grunt." He says, "Okay, sign me up."
You didn't? No. The Neo dog I thought was funny was he He didn't. That wasn't the lowest one. It was just he couldn't even pass the basic
Yeah, he
aspect.
he couldn't pass any military MOS. It came down to being in the MI or testing sleeping bags on Venus.
No. I just love how he got knocked out of the Neo dog because he just said you weren't even smart enough to sneak the dog in to sleep on your bed at night.
Exactly.
He's like, you're obviously not good enough for this, and he's just like, bam. It's like, oh,
I gotta read the book. Oh my god, I gotta read the book.
Yeah.
I love the
you
Neo
can find it for
dogs.
free online and audiobooks of it too. I mean, I listen to the audiobook version on YouTube several times a year.
I know that.
I've been
seen
hearing.
the animated.
Oh
stuff
yeah,
with
I know.
people.
I've seen the animated series.
It's really good.
Yeah,
Oh, let's try to bring it in for January.
Yep, you'll like it.
I don't have any problems with that. Yeah, that works.
And it's a fast read too. It's only like 150 or 160
Yeah, no,
pages.
you can. Yeah,
It's a really good book. I like now, when we talk about politics in there, I know someone's talking about it, like all of Heinlein's books, he always injects his own personal feelings. And since the book was written in the 50s, he later changes things on from some of his later books for his feelings for stuff. But it gives but yeah, it was his teacher who I thought had no arms or legs or something. Anyway, and then he was surprised he was a lieutenant colonel. But anyway, I haven't read it in a few years, but it's a great book for the whole thing. The only problem I have with it is you're waiting for the final battle and he just stops.
Yep.
But I love the Neo Dogs where they said, the Neo Dogs, it's a closer relationship than what a man and wife will have. And when the if the handler gets killed, they have to kill the Neo Dog. And if the Neo Dog dies, they said they wish they could kill the handler, but they don't. I wish they had. I thought that was just a really cool idea with it. Everyone loves the mobile
It was
spacesuits.
very moving. It's one of the few things I do remember about that story, mind you, because it's been like 30 years since I've read it, if not more. I might have only read it twice, but that part stuck with me.
Speaking of books to read, Omen now actually has a movie he wants to throw in on our list for the Sunday reviews. Do you care to share?
Oh, you mean Doctor Strangelove, or How I Left the Buffalo?
Oh, I knew he was going to pull that one on us. I knew it.
Oh yeah,
that's like one of his
I
favorites.
probably watch about once or twice a year.
Oh,
really?
Look at that beautiful
Where do you guys
dog.
get the time to do this shit?
No. Even my son, who
I really have time to think of my own story.
Mom says hi.
My son.
Oh, look at that! Oh,
yeah, there
He's
you
a
go.
big boy.
that's a
Even
beauty.
my son, who doesn't like a lot of stuff, I got him to sit down. He
He's
thought
a
it was
big
hilarious. I had to explain a lot of stuff, but he thought it was hilarious.
Are you spoiled? Yeah, he says he's spoiled. You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
spoiled.
That is a beautiful dog you got there, Haas.
He
And
is.
that's the right size
he's a
dog to
good
me
boy.
too. Is I like dogs that are 50 pounds plus. 50 to 80 pounds are perfect.
No,
Now,
he's just over 100. He's a little guy.
Yeah.
He's a little guy.
He's a little guy.
I kind of have a question for you guys, Shadow, if you don't mind.
What you doing, Mom?
Sure, why not? We roll up the and you were done, right, Bo?
I'm
Big now.
fine right now.
Yeah, you were talking about
Unless my
And-
job tells me I'm good.
Actually, Thurston
Okay.
Hell has exactly right, which is you don't be the captain if you don't want to be in the heat of delegating for the group. Well, exactly. But the other aspect is that's why I said you can go through it, but you still have other roles. Like if you're the trader, that's not the captain's job to haggle. Let the trader do that. Let the and I think that's part of let the pilot dodge the missiles. You decide what the grand scheme of things are, and slow thinkers. My God, if you're a slow thinker, do not be the captain.
Oh, good joke. Well, the question I had was a bunch of us have either watched a litany of sci-fi shows / movies or read sci-fi / books. So, but for his politic question he brought to us tonight, do you think there's any, if you had to pick one, you had the magic movie ticket from Last Action Hero, right? And you can live in one of these movies or / books. Is there one that you would pick over the other?
I'm going to say Firefly for myself, just because it seems common enough. it seems grounded enough that I could go through with it. Now I understand that it has that dystopian aspect, like all sci-fi has at some point, but I think that it's one of those that I kind of like the idea, just like the old settlers. You get in a ship, you go out, you can trade in between these outer rim worlds, and the government comes in, but it doesn't really mess with you that much. I mean, it does mess with you a little bit, but I that's the one I would pick.
All right, what about you, Grim?
I would pick Lord of the Rings.
For sci-fi?
No, not for sci-fi, but if I had to pick sci-fi, it would be like a Traveler or possibly Star Wars. I've always enjoyed Star Wars. One of those two universes. I like them both. Probably, I guess Star Wars. Just for fun.
Which part of Star Wars?
I was about to say, like before the Empire.
At the edge of the universe or the center, or
I would probably pick being some sort of rogue, I guess. Sort of I don't think I'd want to. If you're in the Empire, you're directed unless you were a leader. Now, if I got to be a leader in the Empire, I'd pick Empire, but or a leader in the rebellion. Otherwise, you're always under somebody else's thumb, telling you what to do, where to go. Otherwise, you get to explore the things if you're a rogue, and you get to go around and see interesting things and little teddy bear people that eat people.
Okay. What about you there, Bo?
I want to be in the first season of the 1978 Buck Rogers with Aaron Gray as Wilma Deering. Space disco, space gambling, spaceships. Freaking, that's if I was going to be in a sci-fi show. Or the 1978 Battlestar Galactica. That'd be pretty cool too.
That would be.
I would pick Buck Rogers just because it seems a lot more nice than Battlestar Galactica.
All right. What about you, Shadow?
Let the little guy go first.
You go first.
I was thinking Star Wars at the end of the entire saga. The cries of Soy Walker, that era. Because all that shit's all over now. It's just who knows. That or maybe. I'm surprised nobody said this, but I'd have to be the Doctor, but Doctor Who.
Oh, okay, that'd be cool.
All right, Jack.
I don't know.
I know that sci-fi movie.
My political worldview.
All right.
All right, Connell, what's yours since you're left?
I jokingly, I kind of have two. One, if I could jump into one, it would be Futurama because y'all can bite my shiny metal ass.
Speaking of Jack's crab people, go ahead.
Right. Yeah, he's a doctor. But I'm watching Dune. This is in a very early part of me and Shadow's Sunday thing. And everything's about spice. Then I go and watch Star Wars, where spice is an illegal drug. I'm like, it all makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I forgot about that.
So you want to be in the Dune universe?
No. Futurama. Futurama.
Like living in the 40K universe.
Only if I can be an ogre and whatever I think comes true.
He gets to be the ogre. You know what? That would be interesting if we were all rogue traders. I'm sorry, if we were all on a rogue trader ship, but we weren't the rogue trader themselves. What are two roles that you would pick?
As long as I'm not the guy that has to refuel the ship, I'm fine.
Hey, that is a right of honor. You should be honored to die for the cause.
I'm just asking if you've ever seen the Rogue Trader, is which what would you like to be in there besides the Rogue Trader himself?
Resident Psychic.
Okay.
Oh, you navigate.
What's your number two?
Ooh, long distance fire support.
Okay. Hey, Bo, what's yours?
I'm a rogue trader. Doctor. Yeah, that'd be cool. I want to be the medic. Is there a medic?
I'm sure that there's some skill in there.
Yeah,
for
there
medic.
has to be. Because
About-
people are going to get messed up in that game.
It might be a servitor or something, you know.
Oh
like-
yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that's the second after the guy that has to load the fuel. Let's be the servitor. I'll be lobotomized. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think it's when it comes to 40K, it's more the jobs you don't want than the jobs you do want. I mean, even being like a breacher. Yeah, I get to be the guy that shoots the Xenos first. Then you die quick. You don't want the Inquisition to catch. Oh, that's it. No, they don't have those in Rogue Traders. I want to be the commissar, but Rogue Traders don't.
Yeah,
have
well,
those.
no, that's our boss.
No. You can have an Inquisitor and a Commissar. Remember, Rogue Traders and Inquisitors at the same level.
Oh, I didn't know that. Then yeah,
Being an Inquisitor is pretty good because then you're pretty much safe from. If somebody accuses you of being a heretic, you just accuse them right back. Well, no, you're the heretic. Bring me
That's
the
actually my choice.
No, the heavy flavor.
If I could be Judge Dredd, I'd be Judge Dredd.
How are you, Grim?
Cool. I don't know.
The other franchise that heavily influenced the 40K universe, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jack, the Chainsaw Warrior. I like that one.
Which one?
Okay.
Chainsaw Warrior.
Chainsaw Warrior.
Do y'all remember that? Have y'all seen Chainsaw Warrior?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
He's not exactly 40K, but he's contemporary time with that, where he goes in the building in New York to fight the monsters that have gotten through. That's a very cool game.
I'm
Well,
looking.
It's a great.
Let's see. Jack would be the arch militant, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Especially with that hat.
Yes.
I have several hats that display that.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
he would be the arch militant, or he would be the missionary. I mean, we're just gonna.
Oh, that'd be fun too.
Nothing else.
Nothing
Well,
else.
you know, well, we'll see. I'm thinking I would enjoy the navigator, and
Sure.
then the other one is I would be the Xeno orc. Those are my because they do have a class for that. They do have the Xeno orc class. I like that.
Right.
This tin can has a gun. No, it's not. Boom! Ah, crap.
Well, you know what I like about it is that one of the things they do have in Rogue Trader is that you can spawn off a little, like I guess a little snotling or something to go with you is one of your skills. Is you're like, oh, and it's just like it just pops off and you're like, oh, he just joined me from nowhere. I kind of
weird.
no,
It's
it's
so
in
weird.
there. It
I
is,
know, but it's so weird because it didn't used to be that way,
oh,
or at least I don't remember that.
And you can eat them too. Squig is yummy.
Oh, come on! Come on! I had the old 40K stuff, and they had in the original. It was with Mork and Gork, and they had the Red Goes Faster. They had a little thing that was intended to go in a 3-ring binder, actually, if you remember that. And they had the whole thing with the orcs, and it was like, oh yeah, you got snotlings. They're all like from the same group. Just some get big and some stay small.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I just meant the where they pop off your body.
No. I think what happens is it kind of just goes off somewhere, and all of a sudden you wake up one day and there's just like this one little one around, and it's like, what happened to him? Well, I think he grew on the food and he just came off.
Well, they're made out of mushrooms, so of course they're gonna produce by spores.
Yeah, that's what I like about that. It's the whole thing with the Rogue Trader. But I that's what I was wondering. Connell, did you pick what you were going to be?
There was a dissension in those guys, when they made the Road Trader and they made those.
Yeah.
They made figures of orc women and orc children in 40K and also in the fantasy. They were not just spores of green. What is it? Green goo.
Using my limited knowledge of 40K, I would be the Space Marine Viking that pissed off the wrong guy and got stuck on the ship. I'm pretty sure that can't happen, but that's
Well, it can't
No,
happen.
it's not
You can have
entirely
space
true.
marines in your crew in Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
I mean, but people forget. Well, I guess we all know, but their ships are what 40,000 plus people on them.
Yeah.
They're not like little small ones. And what amazes me is they're like, when you want to shoot a torpedo, you get your 200 guys to put the torpedo into the launch tube.
Right.
It's
torpedo.
It's hundreds or thousands of people to load those
It's
launch
all very
tubes in
heavily
there.
labor intensive.
I don't know. 40K always kind of remind me of Mad Max, but in space.
But that's kind of what makes it cool.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just when the first game shop I worked at in Missouri, it was like 60% Magic: The Gathering because that's what kept the lights on.
Sure.
25% Warhammer, and the last bit was D&D. And
that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
I had to work my ever-living butt off to get people into the shop to play Dungeons and Dragons. I put it up at, we offer Dungeons and Dragons and all your Pathfinder needs. Come find us at blah, 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 at blah, blah, blah. I am your friendly neighborhood DM. I mean, I had not posters, but like flyers I put up at the library, at the high school. Well, the owner of the game shop was a teacher at the high school, so that helped. And I just, I hoard myself out for a while to get people at the game shop, and it worked.
What game shop do you work at now where you run games for money? What's that called?
I can't technically say.
Oh, really? Okay. You can't advertise for them?
No, because my views and the owner's views don't always match.
Okay.
It is also a private gaming club that's a game shop.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh. Cool.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be a wrap for tonight. We went a little bit over. For those of you who want to, pop on over to Nathan Allen's.
Whoa!
Quantum show. Yeah.
Whoa! This is a family show.
It's been a long day, guys. It's been a long day.
We have the triple entendre.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate you guys all hanging out tonight, and I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving and all the days up into that, and hopefully you won't get sucked into that Black Friday nonsense.
No.
Hey, Shadow. Can you
Pain.
put the link for Nathan Allen's?
Only if I leave.
Hold on. You want me to put it in the private chat or just put it in chat?
I was just
Post
wondering
in
if
the
it's possible
comment
to put it in
section.
chat.
All right, I'll put it in chat. If he's up and going, I'll put it in chat.
I think he is. He might. I haven't talked to him today.
Though he did send you a message. I saw that.
Right.
Yep, I see him.
Okay. We're going to go over there and hang out and talk about UFOs and ghosts and Bigfoot and God knows what else. But that's what we do after this show. You guys are all, of course, welcome to come back next week after Thanksgiving. I have no idea what we're going to talk about then, but I'm sure something will come up. Maybe we'll talk about our Christmas wish list.
No, don't. That's
You know,
stupid.
the things that are the products that are on our that we're looking for, for a little bit, unless something cooler comes to mind.
That's a cool idea.
Because there's a lot. I mean, for old guys like me, there are some things out there that I've been looking for decades, and
What are you
never
hoping
know.
for, Jack?
Have a seat, just a second.
Jack, what are you hoping for?
About Ghost. Yeah. So there might be a guy that you might want to listen to.
Jack, what are you hoping for Christmas?
More books.
More books.
Yeah.
He's hoping for books. This little one here, he's not that little anymore. He's hoping for a ballast and Ghost Adventure. So I wanted to have him show up with Nathan and maybe talk to him a little bit.
Cool.
Oh, I am hoping for a 80-year-old bottle of Talmadou Irish whiskey.
Oh wow!
How much would that cost?
A lot of
$75.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's not as bad as I thought.
No, I did not say 150-year-old.
If I was rich, I'd buy everybody's wishes.
Actually, Grim, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are an author, right?
Yes,
I would actually love to have a signed copy of one of your books.
I just have one right now. It's Arn of Clayhaven.
I would love to have somewhere down the road a signed by you copy of your book.
Cool. I'll get one and
He talks about all
I'll,
sorts of stuff.
Nice.
But you might want to listen to him.
Get it out
If you
to
don't
you.
want to, you don't have to.
Okay, I'll keep this channel in mind.
we'll see.
Well, no, I mean, do you want to talk to him like tonight?
Not right now.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just checking.
He's
No,
got
I'm
something
just-
going on.
Talking to your son, eh?
Well. My son always talks about he believes his house is haunted, and
Oh, really?
from all
That
the
is they
animals.
believe.
That's the guy to talk to, man.
That's what I was trying to tell him, but he's not that. He doesn't want to. He's not that. If he doesn't know you, he doesn't want to converse for the most part. like he'll pretend you don't even ask him a question. He'll just focus off. So you're not talking to me. No.
Never talk to the dead. It's never a good idea. I used to do paranormal investigations for years. Since my dad used to do reel to reel, what he called ghost whisperings. Now they call EVPs. We did that in the 70s, and I still have those. And I had a box of stuff, and I kid you not, it moaned in the corner. I gave it to my friend who did all the stuff. He said he wanted it. He called me. His name was Dan. He said, "Look," he said, I'd like to have that. And I said, "Man, it moans. It makes noises." And he said, "Yeah, I want it." And I'm like, "Okay." And I sent it to him. And I tell you,
dude, you gotta tell Nathan about that, man.
there was a lot of evil crap in there, and I didn't want it anymore.
Yeah.
Dude, you give me goosebumps.
I have right now recorded on one of my phones a very demonic entity talking that was horrible, and I want to get it off my phone, but he wants it, so I got to send it to him. And I don't. Most ghosts are demons, and that's it. They're not anything else. Inevitably, when you see that child who's in that house finding your keys, or that old woman, there's inevitably a dark entity as well. And that dark entity and that child or that old woman, they're the same. And they show themselves to be the same.
So go ahead, Connell.
If I'm walking down the street and I see a creepy house with a creepy child, say, "Please help me," I'm going to burn down the house and move on with my life.
There you go.
So
That's off and move to orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
there was a lady I was dating, and she had a young daughter about the same age as my son. Not now, but they were like 4, and apparently the lady that they bought it from had passed away, and her daughter had been talking to her for days, and they hadn't told her what her name was or anything. She says, "Oh yeah, so and just rattles off all this information that her daughter should not have known about
Absolutely.
this." She said, "Oh yeah, she's my friend just talking to me." Yeah.
Those friends aren't usually friends.
It was, her daughter talked it was like, talk to dead people kind of thing. Her daughter did that to a lot of them, and they were kind of, I don't want to call them evil. They were just, I guess, lonely or something. They were just talking back and forth to her, and her father freaked out. He was an atheist and he didn't believe it, but after he saw that with his daughter, that completely freaked him out. But of course, I was hearing this from
Showed him something.
Well, and there were a few others too that were, there was another house that they had, and that the lady who died there did not want anyone, and if you went in the wrong room, she would like scream at you, "Get out!"
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's pretty serious.
Now, after hearing the last one, having flashbacks of being married, I gotta go now.
All right, guys.
Same here. I gotta go.
Everybody have a
Happy
happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Love you guys.
Good luck.
Everybody on chat,
Good
have a
Thanksgiving,
happy
all.
Thanksgiving.
Wow,
Thanks
was this
for
something I
showing up,
said?
everybody.
Goodbye.
Nice to see you all.
Bye, everybody. Chaos
Bye-bye.
ensues.
Oh,
God bless
Hans
everybody.
Says bye. Hans says bye.
That
Oh,
was a beautiful dog.
He is.
Yeah.
Oh, he says he's handsome. Are you handsome? Yep. He wants a girlfriend so we can
That's
have.
send me a
Well, but
picture
yeah.
there, Paul.
Oh, that's really
He
cool.
He's from the Rin Tin Tin bloodline. Oh, that's a nice figure. I like that. Very
Painting
cool.
It's War Games Atlantic Chinese boxers. What are you painting, O'Donnell?
Ooh.
Ooh, dragon. Is that Drake? Dragon? Is it
Cool.
purple?
No, it is technically an Underdark No, wait. Hold on. Is this the Underdark? Yeah, this is the Underdark Dragon from WizKids.
Very cool.
Is it PVC? Aren't a lot of those PVC kind of soft?
I
Or is
do
it
like some of their painted
It's
stuff.
hard. It's hard plastic. It's from WizKids. It's hard plastic.
So you're doing Boxer Rebellion? Boxer
I'm-
Rebellion?
I'm doing the boxers to add to my sci-fi campaign because it's like Firefly. You can have Chinese guys with swords in your sci-fi game, right?
They would go perfectly. Absolutely.
Well, I'll see you guys all over at Nathan's. Grim.
Bye, guys.
Shadow has the information. We'll catch up later.
All right.
All you guys have a good night. Connell, take care. Bye-bye.
God bless, guys.